Absolutely. Hey folks, what's going on? It is 8 p.m. on Monday evening. My name is Scott Churchson. As you can see below, Lord of None I Survey, Mr. Davion Bussey as always, and Mr. Robert Manning always. And this is Tales from the Film Set, talking about movies, talking about the industry, talking about what was, what is, and dumb things that are happening along the way. Gentlemen, how are you?
Fantastically well.
All right.
Tired.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, boy, did you have a day.
Yesterday was an insane day.
Yes.
I get to be in a movie. I don't know when it comes out. Can't say much because we signed an NDA, but was in a movie and we were on set from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. And then I had my friend that brought me. He had to bring me back to Mount Home. It was about a 2.5-hour drive, so I took a 2-hour nap, and then I had to go straight to work. And then I had to help with the concert last night. So we went to bed around 11 p.m. that night, and then almost missed my alarm this morning. But hey, we're here. So
Meanwhile, I need to take a nap after I wake up.
yeah, right, exactly.
I'm sitting on the couch like an hour ago. I'm just like, ah.
I to be honest, I did take about a 30-minute nap before this, so we're good.
All right. Well, we'll try to get through this as best as we're able. Hyped up though we are in this particular case.
Yeah.
Going to be talking in this case here. We got a movie that premiered today. We have a TV show that ended today. And then also we have the scripts and the synopsises of movies, classic movies, of what were, what could have been, and what we might have gotten.
Oh, okay.
So, what would you gentlemen like to start with here?
Let's start with the movie, movie of the day. I think would be a good way to start.
Okay.
What do you think?
Movie of the day. I'm funny. No, I'm not. Okay, so we'll start with that. We'll also probably go a little bit into what the series that ended today as well.
Yeah.
This was a movie that came out over 35 years ago.
Okay.
It is a movie that originally in its book involved the kidnapping of J.D. Salinger. That is actually the name of the book that it was based on. The character of J.D. Salinger was changed because of the fact that the people involved figured that the audience watching it would have no idea who J.D. Salinger was. It is a movie that's classic and has become something that the main actor involved has been tied to repeatedly because he keeps going back to this format for movies. Trying to think what else I can say about this. Years later, that same actor ended up in what is considered, although I think unjustifiably so, the biggest flop in movie history. I don't think it's fair, but that happened 6 years later. It also was the final film role of an iconic actor that appeared in a time travel scene going back in time to 1972. Which, by the way, was a real character, I may add. Which is a real person in real life that he played.
Bill and Ted?
No. Right year. You're on the right year, though, I think. Right, we're damn close to here. But the kidnapping of J.D. Salinger, it has one of the most iconic quotes of all time, and is a movie that men are allowed to cry man tears at the end of.
Man tears. 30.
There was a good fella in it.
Huh?
There was a good fella in it too.
That don't help me.
Joe Pesci?
No.
You said it came out 35 or over 35?
Just over 35 years ago.
So what are we in? 25? So it came out 85?
Yes. So just to recap, this movie that came out in 1989, I'm not giving the name of it away, was a movie that was originally based on a book called The Kidnapping of J.D. Salinger, which is the second title for it. The right. The author's name was the name of the main character in the movie. By the way, the main actor in this would 6 years later make what was considered to be the biggest movie flop in history, which again I don't personally agree with, but different thing entirely. And also had a good fella in it, who later had a TV show alongside Jennifer Lopez.
Wow, this one is hard.
It won't be when you get it.
The only movie I could think of that has something, but it's somewhat of a kidnapping, but not really, is Weekend with Bernie.
No, it is not Weekend at Bernie's. It is a drama, actually.
Okay.
An Academy Award, I believe, an Academy Award-winning drama, actually.
And you're looking more like 1990, I think, is the year.
Right in that vein, right there. Yes, right in that vein.
Yeah.
And
Big Mike knows the answer.
What's that?
Only if I could hear what you're talking.
You can Google it if you'd like. I would rather these. If you basically just don't post the answer until somehow or another
Yeah,
it
you
comes up.
can Google it, but I can't Google it.
Exactly.
Google it.
Yeah. So that's the biggest crux of it. Let me think. We're trying to think what else. It is. Oh, this is probably going to give it away too. There was a scene that takes place at Fenway Park. A year earlier, one of the main characters in this, who had a massive iconic supporting role, was also Eddie Murphy's dad a year prior.
Wait, you said Eddie Murphy's dad?
Yes, in another movie a year prior.
Is it a movie you're for sure I've seen?
You might have. The author of the book, by the way, was W.P. Kinsella.
That don't help me.
Took place in Iowa. Is this
Can
heaven?
you give us
No,
any
it's Iowa.
synopsis? Can you give us any synopsis of the movie that doesn't give it away?
People thought he was crazy for what he was trying to do in the middle of a cornfield.
Field of Dreams?
Yeah.
There
Field
it
of
is.
Dreams.
Yep.
That
What?
was what we talked
Wait,
about.
how is that a kidnap?
The name of the book was The Kidnapping of J.D. Salinger. J.D. Salinger was someone that the writers of the film felt no one was going to understand who it was. So they renamed the character to Terrence Mann and gave the role to James Earl Jones, who, a year prior, on Coming to America, was Eddie Murphy's dad.
Right.
Kevin Costner, who, by the way, at this point, this was his second baseball movie, of at least three at this point. People, had started to develop a reputation of doing baseball, but it also had the last film role of the late great Burt Lancaster in a scene where Kevin Costner's character went back in time to 1972. Lancaster, in fact, actually played a role of someone named Archibald Moonlight Graham, who only got 1/2 inning in his official major league career, which legitimately happened. Lancaster played a real person who, after baseball, and for that 1/2 inning, went back to his hometown and became a doctor. That actually happened. So,
what was the major flop?
Waterworld.
What?
Waterworld.
It really? Wait, Waterworld was a major flop?
Waterworld was a major flop because it cost $250 million in 1995 money. Again, I don't think it's fair to call that a flop. It didn't do well at the box office, but aesthetically, it was honestly a really good movie for its time. It just had a lot of chaos going to it.
But did it not do good in like VHS sales or anything like that?
No, it honestly that one and later on The Postman really hurt Kevin Costner's career later on. It took a while for him to come back from that too. Postman, I thought was a good.
He's
Postman
not
was a
hurting
good book and also a good movie. I liked anything David Brin writes anyway.
He's not hurting anymore.
He's okay. He survived.
Yeah.
But
Must be nice to charge $300 at a convention for your autograph.
shit, really.
Who?
Costner charges $300 for an autograph.
He's going to that Fanatic Fest or whatever that's coming up. He just got announced as a guest, and his prices went live today, and it was like minimum $300 and something, and minimum means 8x10. We're not talking about signing a poster or stuff like that.
Oh,
It's
don't
$200 to look in his direction.
Wait,
No,
who?
it's free to look at him.
Wait,
but
who? Who?
Kevin
Kevin
Costner.
Costner.
Oh,
Yeah. Kevin
no,
Costner.
that's nothing compared to Sylvester Stallone at New York Comic Con.
Well, he was only $500.
Yeah, but here's the
Cool.
thing: New York Comic Con is different from like one of the ones in the Midwest.
And it's Sylvester Stallone. I would say
Yeah.
Stallone's a bigger actor than Kevin Costner.
No, I don't think it was 500. It was more than 500.
No, it was 500, but you're talking about 2013.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Okay, yeah, that could be $1,000 now, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
But-
I only know because I was able to. I remember looking at a thing that showed his price. That's why I know he was 500.
But
But
okay,
anyways,
there's your movie.
there's
Do you
a
want your TV show?
now our TV show.
So, on this one, 8 years after the last movie, a historic, iconic TV franchise, TV series, which launched a lot of careers in its own right, ended quite unceremoniously. Much to the surprise of the entire cast, who actually, after 11 seasons of the show, were not actually told, in fact, that the show was canceled. They found out through other means. The show launched an entire network. Was a big reason why an entire network got launched. The show never got a finale, still to this day has never gotten a finale, and features cast members who have gone on to later comedies. One character actor who spent some time on Sons of Anarchy and Futurama, revitalizing her career. We have a lot of launching vehicles from this show.
Married with Children.
Children.
Married with Children. Married with Children ended today, in 1997. Final episode.
You
Without
gave it,
actually having any
gave
kind
it
of
away
a finale.
too easy with Katie Seagal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured when I said Sons of Anarchy and Futurama, that would be enough. But then, of course, Ed O'Neill, who, by the way, has a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
I
Badass.
was
there.
either going to say Married with Children or I was going to say ER because I knew ER had like 11 or 12 seasons. So
Yeah, and Grey's Anatomy is still going after 192 seasons.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I probably could have said that there was a character that was brought in midway through the series whose reputation is only being brought in midway through series after they've jumped the shark. Ted McGinley, who played Jefferson, which I felt personally, Married to Children got better when Jefferson came in because it kind of became this buddy duo thing with him and Al. But he gained notoriety for being the guy who took over for Ron Howard when he left Happy Days. He ended up being in the last few seasons of Love Boat right at the tail end after that dropped. And then midway through Married with Children joined that cast. So Ted McGinley had developed a reputation as being the guy who always showed up at or towards the end of series.
wow.
So yeah, a sad end to Married with Children. Never got that ending. Never got a new episode. And honestly, it feels pretty tame by today's comparison. I gotta be honest with you. All right. Do you want to talk some movies that we almost got?
Yeah.
All right. So you started off in this case, actually, ironically enough, you'd mentioned something. You'd mentioned Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
So you know what? Just for kicks, I'm going to start off with Sylvester Stallone right out of the gate because we're going to talk Rocky.
Okay.
The original script to Rocky was hated by Stallone's first wife because Mickey was an angry racist, and Rocky at the end of the movie threw the fight against Apollo. He didn't fight to the end. He didn't battle all the way through and be, Adrian, we did it. He threw the fight because he decided he no longer wanted to be a boxer. So my question to you is, do you think that script would have worked?
No.
Rob?
So basically, they wanted to retire the character right there and then.
They might have done a sequel or anything like that, but it's more in this case here the fact that rather than fighting Apollo, he just decides to just give up and throw the fight just to avoid anything. And then
What was this, Rocky 3?
the first one.
Wait, he fights Apollo in the first one?
Yeah. And the second one. And is trained by him in the third one.
And then he gets killed in the fourth one.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I feel like if he just threw the fight in the first one, then you wouldn't have an entire franchise now.
That's also true, but do you think the script would have worked? Do you think the storyline would have worked?
No.
It would have worked, but it wouldn't have worked where you could build a franchise like they have.
Sure. Well, forget the franchise, just the one-off.
Yeah, no.
Just a one-off? Yeah.
You think it could have worked?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Sounds good.
I think it could have worked in its own way, but I don't think the franchise would have been iconic.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It would work, but it may not be a movie we'd be talking about to this day.
True.
It'd be just something that Sylvester Stallone did. But it also could be, if that happened, could have been where we don't even know Stallone's name anymore.
Could be.
I doubt it, but I really feel as though if he threw the fight, it wouldn't be like one of those like it is today. It wouldn't be like an iconic thing because he was the underdog. And people want an underdog story. And I think that's what Rocky was. Rocky was the underdog story.
Well, I mean, in the tagline was his whole life was a million to one shot.
Yeah.
So, I think in this case, I think the story could have possibly worked, but again, it didn't have the magic of it.
No, like I said, it'd be something that we may not even know who Stallone is anymore if they went with that script.
Which is funny because don't forget, he turned down $360,000 and sold off his dog to keep himself the main character of this movie. His wife was pregnant at the time. He was broke as crap, and he turned down $360,000. I don't think I could have done that. Boy, you talk about betting on yourself. I think it's borderline stupid, to be honest with you.
Well, now he's worth way more than $360,000.
Yeah, we say it now. Yeah, I was about to say, Rob, we saying that now but you know what? Thanks, Scott, for bringing this up because now that really giving me juices inside of my brain. No,
All right.
No, because I'm going through a situation and I'm just like, juice is flowing, but I'm just going through stuff. And I think starting with Rocky and what y'all said, just
don't throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Throw the damn towel.
Because there's times you want to throw in the towel. And I think you know what? I'm happy the way Rocky is. Because you know what? I think if he threw away the fight, we wouldn't have a lot of people that gave up in life. And right now, we got a lot of people that still going through it, still pursuing, but thank you.
I believe that's not directed towards me.
And you're slacking, you should know all about. No, you didn't catch the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yes. Oh, you say that now, don't you?
She's probably, to be honest, I haven't seen Rocky, the first one, in probably over 10 years since I watched it the first time. And yeah, I forgot Apollo Creed was in the first one.
Yeah.
I just remember Adrian.
So that's one.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm slacking a little bit, but oh well. I'm also tired, Mom.
That's okay. We'll muscle through.
Beetlejuice.
Lydia was supposed to die in a fire.
Who was?
Lydia was supposed to die in a fire.
Who was Olivia?
Lydia. Winona Ryder's character.
Oh.
Christina Ricci.
No. First one, dude.
No, never mind.
Winona Ryder's character. And actually, Christina Ricci wasn't even in this stuff. But
never mind.
Yeah, the original version had her dying in a fire and reuniting in the afterlife with Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. Also, Beetlejuice was basically a winged demon. Would it have worked? Yes or no?
So the end of the movie would have been that there was a fire, or are we talking about the beginning?
The end of the movie. She dies and joins the afterlife with the Deeses.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say during the time, yes.
Why not? I mean, they were already basically family. I mean, they became family.
Yeah.
But a fire? What, a fire?
Sure.
Yeah, but you make it a dramatic comedy part of it, or make it dramatic enough to understand that.
It'd be much better than the ending we got.
You think? I don't know, because she aced the test and you got Harry Belafonte and she's floating in the air and dancing.
Yeah, I thought that was weird ending.
Not really, because if you really think about it, it's like she's celebrating with some of the spirits.
Yeah, well, I personally thought that was, that wasn't my favorite ending. But yeah, catch it on fire. Why not?
Wow. Tim Burton felt that ending was too dark and changed it.
That's what I was about to say. Like,
if Tim Burton says it's too dark.
Wow.
Because that's what I'm about to say. It had to be why he canceled, because it was too dark, but it would have worked during the time.
Yeah.
But I will say this, like, I really think it probably would be too dark for this current time, but not during the 80s.
I still wish we got Sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, we came from the era of the Swamp of Sadness.
Yeah, RoboCop, Swamp Thing, Toxic Avenger, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the stuff. So to me, the death scene wouldn't be as dramatic. It would be like B-rated, whatever, but during that time, I don't think it would have been like, oh, she died and she came and she's a spirit. Okay, cool. And she floats with the family or whoever.
You could make it a lighter thing, I guess, maybe. So.
Correct.
All right.
I still wish we would have got I wish Kevin Smith would have did the second one in the 90s with the beach.
Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
Yeah. That would have been a better sequel than what we got.
I was like, didn't we kind of say all we needed to in the first one? Must he go tropical?
Yeah.
But without Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, we wouldn't have almost gotten Superman Reborn, and that beautiful story that came with it.
Oh, and with Nicolas Cage as Superman.
Yes, but then with John Peters, I don't want to see Superman fly. I don't want to see him in the suit, and he's gonna try to fight a giant spider in the third act.
Oh yeah.
But I was really reminded of the spider the next year when I saw a movie that John Peters produced called The Wild Wild West. I'm sitting there thinking, good Lord, this is a piece of shit. And out of nowhere, a giant freaking spider shows up.
A robotic spider.
So, we good there?
Yep.
We're good.
All right. Let's see what we can move on to next. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. We're going to start with Back to the Future 1 and go from there.
Okay.
So, Back to the Future 1. In the original version of Back to the Future 1, because it took so damn long to get this going, originally, it was actually 1982 to 1952. It was not, in fact, a DeLorean. It was a refrigerator, which was eventually changed out of fear of kids actually trying to go into a refrigerator and getting themselves locked and dying. Professor Emmett L. Brown, in this case, was the prof in this regard. Let's see, what else do we have? It was not Hill Valley; it was a small Midwest town. Marty's girlfriend is Susie Parker. Professor Brown. Professor Brown had a pet chimpanzee named Shemp. Marty's alias instead of Calvin Klein was Marty Lewis. Biff's phrase was asshole instead of butthead. I don't think that would have worked as well.
Yeah.
And when Marty returns back to present day 1982 via a nuclear test in Nevada. And when he returns, he finds out his father has become a boxer. just based on that part alone, starting there, do you think it could have worked?
No.
No. The refrigerator part too? No.
I think they were trying to copy Doctor Who a little bit.
No.
Yeah.
No, you want to know what?
Hold on,
No.
think about it.
No. Let me finish. It gives me Rick and Morty vibes without saying Rick and Morty.
But you can't say it gives you the Rick and Morty vibes because it didn't come out before.
Yeah, I agree.
Rick, you know what it is? Rick and Morty gives me some weird, like, Back to the Future vibes. I can't figure out why.
Because
even though they were done in different generations, it's just that beginning of what the original script sounds like does sound like more like Rick and Morty than it is.
It is a little more further out there in some ways.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, the fridge could have been like kind of a TARDIS thing, because going in the fridge is like going into a box, and
in a matter of, yeah.
But the DeLorean is like, yo, we going in the future in style.
Which, ironically, that was the worst car there ever was the DeLorean.
Yeah, but you made it. Back to the Future made it cool.
Well, yeah.
Well, the DeLorean was not exactly a good car in its era.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, the car itself was not good. And it's kind of like, I know it's not off topic, but Stitch, Lilo and Stitch movie, Lilo goes in a dryer, and then if you go watch today's version, they changed it where you don't see the dryer scene anymore. They changed it to a cabinet. That's what, when you talked about the refrigerator, that's what that reminded me of.
Interesting. Right. Yeah, because probably the same sort of thing, because kids were going to the dryer, getting themselves stuck. Now, in this version, instead of being shot by Libyans, by the way, of course, 1985, Libyans were all the rage. He was shot by government agents instead. So our own government ended up killing Doc Brown.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because he knows the secrets to time.
Yeah.
Going back to the future.
So the name of the dance was Springtime in Paris instead of Enchanted Under the Sea. Doc got the idea for the flux capacitor when a woman hit him in the head with a bottle.
Great Scott!
Great Scott. Now this is heavy. So George and, Eileen, now Lorraine, met in a high school cafeteria. When he attempts to ask her out, he spills creamed corn. Weird.
No, yeah.
Now, if I go on to Back to the Future 2, which I'm about to, Back to the Future 2 was massively different. I did an entire video on that one because of just how different it was in this case here. Because in this regard, it's centered around Marty having to basically making sure that his parents got him conceived. So he had to go to 1967 in San Francisco during the height of the Vietnam War and the protests, and he had to make sure his parents ended up in the hotel room where he was conceived. That was the original plan if Crispin Glover had come back.
Now, Rob, come on, say it.
Say what?
Come on. What does it remind you on this current day?
Nothing.
I don't have it either.
Rick and Morty.
Oh.
No, I don't know because I don't watch Rick and Morty. I don't care for Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Rick.
Or if anything, you could say these inspired Rick and Morty. That's
they totally did. Actually, that's a good fact.
It did. Yeah, it inspired.
You can't say it reminds you of Rick and Morty because
no.
Way before.
It inspired Rick and Morty, but some of these original.
Yeah, it inspired. Maybe the people that made Rick and Morty, maybe they saw these old scripts that didn't go through, and they're like, we're going to make them through with a cartoon, and they can't sue us.
Which is fair. Okay. I like that, Rob. I like that.
Because, I mean, you're right. I mean, that is what Marty and Rick is, or Morty and Rick is.
Morty
and Marty.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, let's hear about part 3.
Well, no, we still have more part 2, by the way.
What?
Oh, there's a lot more. There's a lot more darkness in the alternate timeline. So Jennifer works as a security guard. Marty does a bunch of great get-rich-quick schemes. One that actually got his father into legal trouble, who cut him out of the will. Jennifer actually divorces Marty in the storyline. In the future, let's see. In 1973, the Hill Valley Community Hospital, where Lorraine is giving a speech, opened. It's very controversial at the time, being called the hospital Hill Valley didn't need and couldn't afford. Let's see. Biff still gets his hand on the almanac. Mr. Strickland, who is the principal, actually works for alternate timeline Biff, by the way. But yeah, in 1967, that was the way it was supposed to be.
Thankfully, we didn't get those timelines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as the great man called Skeletor once said, if multiverse theory is a thing, then fiction does not exist. So, meaning that if multiverse theory exists, there are iterations of this movie that literally happened.
Yeah.
So, all right. Back to the Future 3 wasn't really that much different. I mean, just some of this stuff was changed. Like, Seamus McFly was Angus George Douglas McFly. There was an ex-love of Doc named Jill, and Jill wasn't involved with a lot of this stuff. But for the most part, it was pretty much the same way all the way through. A little disappointing in some regard, but Clara was actually widowed in the original version. So less intriguing, but like I said, Back to the Future 2 was going to be vastly different. Like I said, the whole thing about him having to make sure that his parents that his mom gets knocked up by his dad, and he has to coordinate that is weird.
I mean, they kind of do that in the second one.
Well, no, the second one, no, he has to go back in time. He does have to kind of make sure that, things happen in 1955, yeah. But
right.
More about making sure, getting the book back from Biff, not running into his own timeline, and everything there.
Well, yeah,
making sure his mom gets knocked up so he can be born. It's like,
I was gonna say, and his mom fell. That was the second one where his mom falls in love with him for a second, wasn't it?
No, it was the first one.
Oh, first one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the enchantment. We'll see also in this case in the 1967 timeline, Marty gets in trouble and has to get bailed out by Lorraine. So they recognize him again 12 years later. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, let's go on to... that's a good one. Perhaps you've heard of this movie at some point.
Is it Elf?
Nope, we're going to skip Elf on this one.
Oh,
Do you want the original crawl for the original Star Wars?
Yes.
I want the original Elf.
Yes.
Until the recent Great Rebellion, the Jedi Bendu were the most feared warriors in the universe. For 100,000 years, generations of Jedi perfected their art as the personal bodyguards of the Emperor. They were the chief architects of the invincible Imperial Space Force, which expanded the Empire across the galaxy, from the celestial equator to the far reaches of the Great Rift. But now these legendary warriors are all but extinct. One by one, they have been hunted down and destroyed as enemies of the new Empire by a ferocious and sinister rival warrior sect, the Knights of Sith. That's the first Star Wars movie.
Love it.
Your main character, by the way, is Kanan Starkiller and his son Anakin Starkiller.
It gets dark.
And at one point, Anakin Starkiller has to unite with former General Luke Skywalker, who ends up becoming his teacher.
Even though I like the original concept, I still prefer. I mean, even though I like the first draft, I still prefer the original.
Well, what's funny is a lot of the things that were in here eventually got used later on. So Skywalker decides to take Starkiller under as his Padawan learner. Padawans weren't brought into existence until Phantom Menace. But then there was also certain things in here, like Klieg Whitson was one of the characters on here. Klieg was the name of Owen Lars' father. So there's that that's in this here. Valorum is the captain of the Sith Knights. Valorum was the name of the Chancellor in Episode 1. Wookiees are mentioned in here too. Jamila was somebody that they were fighting against. Jamila was the queen in episode 2 and 3. So there's a lot of things that were reused later. This version was actually based on Akira Kurosawa's something called Hidden Fortress. Now, if you guys have interest in reading the original draft, it was turned into a comic series. I think it might have been Dark Horse that did it, where they actually did the original draft as its own comic. It's actually pretty interesting. So, now, in this case, actually, you know what? I didn't ask this about the Back to the Future series. We'll go back to that first. Would those movies have worked as they were?
No.
No.
You did ask. Or
I did ask on all three of them?
You didn't say all three, but you did kind of ask, or I know I made the comment saying that it wouldn't have worked.
And I agree with Rob. Like,
Yeah.
How about Star Wars?
I think even though I like the concept of the first draft, I still prefer the original.
But that's not the question. The question is, would it work?
See,
I think any space movie, I mean, didn't matter what the script was, it would have worked.
no, but the thing about Star Wars ain't that. It's just the fact that I think it will work, but we wouldn't have as many sagas as we have now. But it would have worked. But because of the original, that's why we have a lot of the sagas. So I would say yes, but we wouldn't have as many sagas that we have.
I mean, it's certainly possible you can continue it. Because in the end of the movie, Queen Leia ascends the throne, and her love interest, Anakin Starkiller, is promoted to the King of the Knights. Sorry to spoil the ending for you, by the way.
No.
You jerk! How dare you?
I like the other one. I like the other one. I like the fact that you find out Luke and Layla is brother and sister.
After the fact in certain cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. After he almost kisses her.
Oh, she kissed him twice.
She kissed him twice.
She kissed him in the first one, and she macked on him in the second one.
Well, maybe
they didn't realize he was her brother.
You know what? Technically they're aliens, so maybe it's a little different out in space.
Wait, they're aliens?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
they're not humans.
Yeah, they were born on Coruscant. Coruscant's an alien planet.
Huh? They are humans.
No, they're not.
They're alien. They just look human.
Yeah.
I don't think they're aliens.
You know. Yeah, I mean, all of them are aliens.
There were humans in the Star Wars, but they weren't considered humans.
Yeah. You know, I mean, if anything, basically, we're an alien to them. You know, in the distant future of.
No, I disagree.
I don't even know what the time. I don't even know what light year time differential. I don't know. The Galactic Alliance will tell us that, but actually, we're not allowed. Apparently, Earth is not allowed to join it because we're too medieval and primeval. Look that one up. That's a fun one. General of Israel had some really interesting things to say about that one. So, but Star Wars could. I think honestly, I would have been intrigued by this version. I really would have been.
Same here.
It's a little darker in this regard.
Like I said, it would have worked either way. 1977, it would have worked.
I think so.
Yeah.
People were just gullible for something that's space, and that's why.
Space.
Yeah, because it was like Star Wars. Oh my God, yes!
Star Wars, talking about Star Wars.
Oh, that's the guy I met.
Aliens, yep.
Yeah, I met him, but he wasn't allowed to do interviews.
Well, you know what it is? I'm not sure if this is what Tyler was talking about, but I just happened to see the comment. I figured pull up the meme.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and it's insane how he's not allowed to use his most meme, which was like this, and it was because the network said they own it because it was filmed on their station, so he's not allowed to use it at conventions.
Legally, they could have a right on that. I think legally they could do that because if he signs something saying that he waives his rights to any of the content, yeah,
But if somebody sent you like it's just crazy that he can't sign no pictures or sell any merchandise for something that made him popular.
Dude, if you want to see something basically disappointing, check out Bob Ross's story, because his entire family gets like no residuals and no royalties on all of the Bob Ross merchandise. You know, the episodes, there, all this kind of stuff. The family gets squat.
Why?
Because there were legal loopholes that prevented them from getting it.
Is it because of what he did, or
no? It's because of the things that were signed by people that had control over the estate and everything. Let's see. Yeah. Basically, his business partners, a family called the Kowalskis, they got complete control over the name, likeness, and international intellectual property. So his son and his stepbrother actually don't get squat.
Kind of like the founders of McDonald's.
Well, see, here's the thing: the founders of McDonald's, they didn't really want to expand out. Ray Kroc wanted to expand it out.
Yeah,
but they didn't. They wanted to kind of keep it family owned and family together. So there was a dispute on that one.
No, yeah, but the way they were supposed to get like 1% or something, and it was a handshake that never actually got actually put through, and they didn't get the share they were supposed to get.
Interesting. Well, I know Dave Thomas was not only the founder of Wendy's, but also the guy that launched KFC. He's the one that franchised that one first.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Wendy's was his second business, KFC was his first one.
That was I really liked the founder with Michael Keaton. That was good.
Never saw that one.
That's about the story about the McDonald's people.
Okay.
Oh.
It's called The Founder or something, and Michael Keaton plays the character, the Ray guy that wanted to do
Ray Kroc, yeah.
Or Ray, sorry. Wanted to do the franchise, and then it talks about that at the end about the whole handshake thing and about how it never actually and what it's worth today or something. And it was a good movie. It was one of Michael Keaton's better roles.
Interesting. So, all right, I got two more for you, by the way.
Okay.
Now I don't have a lot on this one. I'm not gonna actually, truth be told, I'm not gonna take the time to go into the whole detail on this.
Okay.
But this one was originally a fair bit darker. I'm going to read the first part of the script here. This is the first line that you see when Mumble, that character, is on camera. First rule of survival: get yourself laid before winter.
That's what it said?
That is literally the first line of dialogue. I'm going to try and zoom this out a little bit here.
Yeah, that would have not worked with that movie.
Yeah.
Can you guys read? Yeah, you can read it. Okay.
Yeah. That would not work.
That would have made that movie into a PG-13 movie automatically, and probably would have not been a huge success.
It would have taken a different vibe. That's for dang sure.
Yeah.
Now, wait. Depends on how you work it, because you could make it into a PG-13, but you could. Matter of fact, like a almost rated R, and you got yourself Sausage Party.
Oh God, that movie.
What happened?
Go ahead, Rob.
Okay. These are two different. You can't compare Sausage Party to this movie because 20-year difference, or at least 15-year difference.
I know, but I'm just throwing it out there, just thinking about it.
Let's even talk about Sausage Party. No, thank you. It's stupid they're getting a sequel.
I'm shocked.
Dude, I'm not shocked. If there's an opportunity to make a sequel out of anything.
Definitely not family friendly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if The Room can get a sequel where Johnny comes back to life, possibly as a ghost. I did not possess her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not possess her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah, that's still getting us views on the Instagram.
Ah, dude, man. Dude, oh, yeah, that video. Oh, my God. That thing's got like 30,000 likes at this point. Something like that.
Yeah, like that video still gets comments to this day from a video we posted months ago.
And you know what's funny? I get updates on my phone every time someone likes that video.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just kind of swipe it. But yeah, right now.
Because every time it says somebody commented on your Instagram, I think they're commenting on my actual Instagram. I'm like, oh, it's that stupid Mark video.
Yeah, how many likes are we at on this video here? Go away.
Go away. You said it's Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It has 33,348 likes.
Yeah.
Yes. The one where Melissa Benoist from Supergirl reenacted the scene from the room. Yeah.
Yep.
Over 33,000 likes on that video.
And over 100 or over 200,000 views or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't even know anymore.
Yeah. So crazy.
But yeah, no, I'll take it. So I got one more.
So yeah, this one have not worked.
Oh, you want the Happy Feet one? I think could have worked. This one
could have worked.
The Happy Feet one could have worked under a different context. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, you have nothing to compare it to.
I don't think they could have made a sequel and stuff out of it.
Dude, they can always find a way to make a sequel out of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Like I said, it was more of a kids-friendly movie. I don't think it needed to be made more mature.
This one, however, The Matrix. By the way, I want to point out, and Davion, I've already told you this, but I'm going to just say it again for laughs. In the original script, Morpheus's name was Brown.
What's what?
Brown.
Brown?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I sat there and said, that's racist.
No, sir, that doesn't exist in this time.
In a sense, yeah. Unless there was other people considered for the Morpheus role.
Could have been.
Okay, this is where this changes a little bit. Yes, there were. Val Kilmer was supposed to be the original Morpheus.
Okay, yeah.
Well, Brown would have worked.
But I deliberately held off on... Rob, what are you doing over there?
Sorry, I was changing angles.
Okay. I just clear that up. Yeah, no, originally it was supposed to be Val Kilmer, in which case the name Brown could have worked.
Yeah.
It was well known that, Will Smith was supposed to be the original Neo, but he didn't get it. However, what people don't realize is that in the original version ending, Neo was supposed to die at the end of the first movie. They would win the war, but he would die. But they felt that killing off Neo was too depressing as an ending, so they decided not to do it.
Oh, yeah, and they would have lost a lot of money, too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also in this case here, don't forget, they killed him off in the third movie.
Well, yeah, the third one.
The third one we shall not speak of.
I don't hate the third one. I think I tried to do something with it, but I don't know.
I kind of was disappointed.
Are you sure there was a third one?
Yeah, they killed him off.
Regurgitations.
The one that we don't talk... No, there was no third one. Remember? Just like there was no Green Lantern movie.
Just like there was no Clerks 3.
Was Clerks 3 that bad?
No.
This is the second time in a day and a half I've bitched about this movie.
Okay, that's fair.
I literally I was at City Field yesterday. I'm sitting there in the manager section where basically the coach is their press conference, and I'm literally griping about Clerks 3 with someone named Anthony Merced. So, and Halen actually too. Halen was there. And yeah, just the fact that ending they kill off Dante.
Yeah, and I would say
that's okay. Go ahead. Wait, go ahead. Finish your thought, please.
Who, me?
Yeah, either one of you.
I wasn't talking. Day was.
I just say, yeah, they killed off Dante, which really kind of scarred me a little bit because Dante is such an iconic character that the way they did that was a slap in the face. And I understand why they did it because they was trying to do what they did at the end credit. I mean, as the deleted scene from the first one, who was played by his Kevin Smith's cousin.
Yes. Yeah. Now, this one here, like I said, the problem that I have with it, I don't mind the fact that they gave Randall a heart attack and that set the story in motion. We makes the movie and all this kind of stuff. That's fine. I could work with that.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Dante's death scene I think is fantastic in the movie theater. I think it's an absolutely spectacular way to go.
Yeah.
But I just don't like the fact they did it.
Correct. I'm like that too. I didn't like how they went with it. And I was like, and I didn't know Rosario Dawson's character died.
Yes.
Until the very end.
Well, that's part of it too, because at the end of Clerks 2, he's like, "Can you feel it? Today's the first day of the rest of our lives." And then Clerks 3 starts out with the storyline of, 6 months later, Rosario Dawson and the kid have died, and it's like, dude, really? Now, do you want to know the original Clerks 3 storyline?
Yes.
Because this is why I pointed my finger at camera, because I just remembered that I know pretty much the entire storyline for this one.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, this one was written back in 2011, 2012, 2013, somewhere in that area. Okay. And I remember having a conversation with Brian O'Halloran on a movie before he murdered me, where I asked him, about the Clerks 3 script. And the only thing he would say in that case, and the only thing he said for years is, "I can tell you the script, but you have to pay me $2 million because that is the lawsuit that I will face and how much I have to pay if I break my NDA with Kevin Smith." Mm-hmm. And he said that publicly for a lot of years. But eventually Kevin sold the story. So in the original Clerks 3 storyline, this is what happens. The movie centers around a mass shooting at a movie theater. Randall has a movie coming out called Ranger Danger, the movie. There is a mass shooting that has happened. Rosario Dawson's character is already dead at this point in the storyline, and Dante is spending his life as a single father. His daughter, Grace, is in fact deaf in the storyline, and he and Randall are kind of co-parenting the kid in this regard. The kid is spectacular when it comes to hockey. Harking back to the first movie, playing hockey on the roof. The kid is the most amazing goalie ever because she can see and feel things. She doesn't hear the crowd. She doesn't hear anything going on. So her skill set is just top notch because she can zone all of that out. The problem is, as they're in the movie theater for Ranger Danger, the movie, she also can't hear the gunshots going off. So as this mass shooting is happening in Clerks 3, Dante saves the daughter's life, Grace's life, and in the process gets shot to death himself. So Randall is now the single father of baby Grace. He's involved with somebody who's a producer of a movie. He starts getting involved, they start dating. And then he has to learn how to be a single father to Grace. And the movie ends fast forwarding a bunch of years later, and a goaltender for the New Jersey Devils hoists the cup. And the one hosting the cup is baby Grace. She's the goaltender for the Devils when they win the Stanley Cup.
That gave me goosebumps. I love it.
That was the original Clerks 3 we were supposed to get.
I loved it.
I think it would have been a better version. It's a little bit darker because remember, this was during that era of mass shootings in theaters. Dark Knight Rises had that problem in 2012. So it tied together directly to that. But Brian O'Halloran said it was the best thing that Kevin Smith had ever written.
Yes. I should have talked to Kevin Smith when I was at the game. I should have asked him about that.
Listen, we have things in the pipeline now. I got to reach out to Scott Schiaffo because Kyle wants to talk to him. But my question to you guys, would that have worked?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
I've never seen any of the Clerks movies, but yeah, sounds like a good script.
That one, I think, would be more of an emotional drama than it was comedy. It probably has its comedy elements to it, but it will be more of an emotional drama because the fact that Dante and then Randall will have to do emotional lines, not in a way where you think he's laughable. You get to see a different range from the guy that plays Randall.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, him and Dante being a co-parent seems very fitting in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, him and this woman who's a producer in Hollywood, actually, they end up getting together, getting married, and they end up taking over as like the parents of the kid. But the Stanley Cup final, I think, is a nice touch because it ties back to the hockey part of it in the first one. The kid being deaf, I think, was a nice touch as well, and it adds a little bit to that part of it on top of it. Also, the Devil's Toys the Cup. I got to take advantage. I got to go with that one.
Yeah, and you can get anybody, someone that is biracial to play that role.
Oh yeah, you could cast that easily enough.
Or even a black person. But realistically, that will work. That would be fire.
Yes. So yeah, I think, like I said, I think that would have definitely worked. I would have preferred that to the one we got. I mean, okay, in both versions, you killed off, Rosario Dawson. You kill off Becky. You kill off Dante. But I think the way it happened was better.
Yeah.
And I mean, the way, like I said, the way he went out in the other one, it's like, dude, I mean, okay, Kevin Smith had his heart attack in real life. I understand why he wants art to imitate life, things like that. But he had both his characters have heart attacks in that movie.
Mm-hmm. And then Jay and Silent Bob probably make an appearance.
They were, yeah, I forget exactly what it was with Jay and Bob. They were in the movie too, but I forget exactly what their involvement was and how they were tied to everything. I guess the Elias character was in there too. I don't really remember, but I just, like I said, I remember the crux of it. If you go on YouTube, you can actually hear it in more detail as Kevin explains the entire story in like a 10-minute. I mean, I only gave you like a 3 or 4 minute version at best, but he goes into like a full 10, 12-minute version of it, and that's where you can really flesh out some of the characters. But when I was listening to it, I was really engaged because I'm like, I have no idea where this is going. I was waiting years to find that script.
That was the Clerks 3 we should have had. I'm sorry.
Halloran was right there so many times in front of me, and it wouldn't tell me. Like I said, he literally murdered me. Like the first time I asked him.
We'll be seeing him in 3 weeks.
Good. Tell him he murdered me in a movie.
Okay.
Tell him the Rangers suck. No, don't do that.
No.
Well, I mean, here's the funny thing. Brian O'Halloran has a love-hate relationship with the whole Clerks franchise because as the guy who came in on the outside, Jeff Anderson was a friend. I mean, Walt, Brian, Jay, all these guys were friends of Kevin Smith. He's the one that actually auditioned for the role and got it. So he was always a little bit of an outsider in this regard. But in his case, I think he has a bit of a love-hate relationship with the whole Clerks franchise because that dude loves to do movies that are not Clerks-based or Kevin Smith-based.
I would love to be in a Kevin Smith movie.
They're nice. Listen, they're quick, man. And his crew loves him. I mean, because he is so chill, he is easy to work with, and he's fast. And when you have a director that knows what they want and they fly through a day, crew loves it because they can actually see their family once in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, Rob, what did you just deal with the other day? You went all the way to 6 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, Fridays I'm familiar with. Saturdays I'm familiar with. There is not a word for a Saturday that goes into Sunday at 6 a.m. Friday is a very common word. Friday is well known. But there is nothing for a Saturday into a Sunday.
Yeah. And it wasn't supposed to be overtime either. It was supposed to just be an 8-hour shoot that turned into a 10-hour shoot, which I'm not complaining because I got paid overtime. Which is a new concept to me for movies. I didn't realize anything after 8 is overtime for their things.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
Non-union get time and a half on something like that. And that's why I asked you what your rate was. Because I didn't know what the rate was for out by you guys.
Minimum wage is $11. So
in New York City, do you know what the rate is for non-union background in New York?
I'm gonna guess $30.
180. You walk in the door at 180, 150.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then you get the overtime, the time and a half. Now to be fair, it's 181, 50 for 10 hours. So it's 2 hours of overtime automatically built into your rate. But you get you will get double time after 10 hours.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's why people film in Arkansas. Yay.
Yeah. Well, because in New York, the minimum wage is like $15 or $16, so they have to adhere to that part of it.
Right.
So yeah, in your case, like I said, what you got, which is very similar to what you would find in, like, say, Atlanta and a lot of those places there. Now, the good news for you guys is that means there's probably a lot more work that's going to be going your way because productions are going to want to figure out ways to be able to cut back on money because as I've said before, $38 billion doesn't last like it used to. You know, times are tough at studios nowadays.
And this is the same company that's why I was in the other movies that I've been in.
Okay.
Besides Running the Bases, but the God's Country song and the other one that hasn't came out yet.
Same casting agency?
Yeah.
Makes sense. In a place like that, I would expect that you probably have really like one casting agency to carry the most of the area around there. Yeah.
They're the one that did the Dennis Quaid movie that I didn't get to be in, but was filmed out here.
Now, I will say this. It is possible with films like that you would have a better shot, I think, of getting speaking roles, too, because you're building familiarity with the casting agency themselves.
Yeah.
You know, so we can talk about that if you wanted to, because that'll raise your rate. I mean, even a non-union speaking role, you'll get $300, $400, $500, $600 worth of a shot.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
You know, I mean, I'm not, and that's a non-union. I'm not even saying you forget Taft-Hartley or anything.
Right.
See, at least, like, I gotta deal with a lot of people that's trying to go after what I'm going after, and I got experience, but because I'm not union, it's good.
I wouldn't, dude. Stay the fuck away from the union right now, man.
Yeah.
Stay non-union. I swear to God, stay non-union.
Oh.
Right now in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fine. I'll just say it. Why not? Thursday, I was on set for Robert De Niro film over in Patterson with the picture car. Friday, I had lines for Evil Lives Here over in Hackensack. You know, and both of those were done without auditions. But if you want to get lines, start working your attention into things like informative murder porns. Both of you guys. Because informative murder porns like Evil Lives Here, you know, my husband, my murderer, you know, there's all of these things out there, you know, these things, Shark Week, whatever they've got, all of these things will pay whatever the background rate a lot of times is, or maybe your bump. But a lot of them will be, because of the fact there's no extra fee for doing lines, they'll just throw you a dialogue. And it's like, just say this, and change it, you know, whatever you want to say. And then from there, you have lines in a TV show that's airing on cable and seen by 1 million some people. Put that shit on your reel.
Yeah, I need to make a reel. I mean, with the stuff I've been in, because I did have a talking line in my first movie I was in.
That's a start. In your case, here's a recommendation though: do not put background work on your reel. No one cares what you look like; they care about your talent. But I mean, they care what you look like, but they don't care about your ability to walk from one spot to another.
Right.
You know, one of the mistakes people make a lot of times is they pad out their reel with unnecessary stuff. You know, I saw an 8-minute reel once. Half of it wasn't even the guy in. It was just scenes from some movie that he did. You know, casting agencies don't care. So if you only have one speaking role in one film, we can figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, we can make some things happen.
Yep.
So. Yeah, Scott is good at that.
You know,
also,
I got a couple of ideas, but you know,
before we wrap up, I would also like to, if you're still watching right now, just a reminder, we have GalaxyCon coming up at May 23rd through the 25th in Oklahoma City. GalaxyCon. If you're not familiar with GalaxyCon, shame on you. They're an amazing company, and this is our second year in a row that we get to do press for them. And thanks to them for having us press last year was one of the reasons why.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought. Please.
Was one of the reasons why I got to be in a CW documentary as Buddy the Elf last year.
Yes.
Was because I was at that con and Mick Foley was there. And the first person we ran up to was Mick Foley, and the people that were doing the Christmas documentary were right there. Mick's like, you need to interview this guy. This guy's literally Christmas spirit. He dresses up as this character all year long. And and then on Sunday, got to be in that documentary. They asked me a bunch of questions. And then I had my one little quick scene, and I was okay with that.
And you know what? That'll count. I would put that in the reel too, but I put it towards the back end. But I would put that in the reel too.
Yeah, because that was really cool because it's just so funny that like after me, and I can't think of what the actress's name, but it's Karen from Daredevil is who speaks right after me, and you know, and now her, you know, with that Daredevil Born Again series, that was great. But yeah, so what were you gonna say, Scott?
No, Dave, go ahead.
Okay, so with that note, I was at the premiere for Final Destination Bloodline.
Yes.
I,
that video went up there. It actually did pretty decent too.
I really have to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a fan of Final Destination, this is like the best Final Destination yet. I have to say, because
it's a lot of gore.
He has to say, because they put his picture on the internet, so he has to say no. I'm just kidding.
No, really.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's literally on the poster because the guy next to him is just like.
So if he said bad about it, they'd be like, strike him. No, I'm just kidding.
But
Day is just sitting there, just like, I can give up. The dude to his left is like peeing himself silly.
Right. Yeah, that's the irony. It's like you got Day that's not scared. The other guy's like,
and I'm like, yo, but I really
this is definitely a movie I'm watching in a seat.
Yeah, like I'm gonna have to really say, like, this storyline compared to others, this is better.
Mm-hmm.
And once you see it, you won't be disappointed. And a lot of things are going to come connected. That's all I'm going to say. A lot of things are going to be connected. So check out Final Destination Bloodline. Yo, you will not be disappointed. If you're a Final Destination fan, check it out. And also, this is Tony Todd's last film. And I will say, you will get emotional when you see Tony Todd and he says a particular line. I'm just going to leave it at that. You will get emotional.
Yeah.
And then hopefully...
I do have one more thing before we wrap up. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully sometime this week I will have a Thunderbolts review for y'all. I have not been able to see Thunderbolts. I was originally going to plan on seeing it Saturday, but then we got contacted that we were going to be in the movie Saturday, and that went all the way until Sunday, and then I had a concert Sunday, so I haven't had any chances to watch Thunderbolts, but I have been hearing a lot of great things about Thunderbolts. Post-credit scene is the main thing I'm hearing is, and today they changed the title to The New Avengers is now the official title of Thunderbolts. That's what that asterisk was for.
Yeah.
So now it's called The New Avengers is what the Thunderbolts movie is now.
Okay.
That's what it was revealed today. I don't know if that was probably kind of like the whole how it was supposed to be Birds of Prey, but then it became Harley Quinn, and the original title was supposed to be just Birds of Prey, but then it became a Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah.
And now so. But yeah,
that's another topic and discussion for another day.
But what did Scott want to bring up?
I almost forgot this. I would have been so angry if I had missed this. If I had missed this today,
he would have became an angry elf.
I actually forgot one more today in history.
Oh,
you guys, this is going to be damn tough. Oh, this is going to be. You thought Field of Dreams was tough?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you the year because it was 2004. It was released 21 years ago today.
Okay.
The plot line of it, a talking dog named Cho-Cho teams up with a police detective named Peter Fowler to solve the murder of his owner, Chin Lee. I'm literally giving you the description and the synopsis here because it's this difficult. But it is a movie where Pat Morita plays a venerable martial arts master. It also has an Academy Award-winning actor, who, by the way, once farted on me.
Is this Karate Kid the next kid?
No, this is not. No, that was 12 years prior. The next Karate Kid was 12 years earlier. That was 1994. This is not in the continuity of the Karate Kid.
Okay, I know you were talking about Mr. Miyagi.
Yes. Yeah, Pat Morita does play a venerable martial arts master and teacher in this movie, however.
I've never seen this.
It has an Academy Award winner who's in Ray Donovan, who has some political ties close to Trump right now, which I believe has hurt his reputation in some regard. It also has a character who was voiced by a character in Community who was fired off of it, so he can take a well-earned vacation as he needed to. Do you have any guesses on any of that first before I go into what this movie is?
I've never seen the movie.
Yeah, you guys have never seen this movie, I guarantee it.
It's,
I didn't even know it existed till yesterday. And
it's
by
a
the way, I
book.
want to also point out, it was also directed by the guy who directed both Porky's and The Christmas Story.
All right, so the main characters is a dog and a cop, right?
Yes.
Why do I feel like it's something with Sylvester Stallone in it?
It is not. Actually, no. It did not do well, however, by the way.
And it's from 2001.
Yes.
No.
It does. No, it's 2004. It does have an actor, however, who played Optimus Primal in Beast Wars, but in an acting role.
Ron Perlman?
Yeah.
No.
He's the
Optimus Primal from the 1990s series.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry, I was gonna say.
Gary Chalk was in this as well.
Yeah. I don't know, Scott.
Was it Hotchin Stacks or Hotchin Stocks? The karate. Oh, I never heard of that. I never heard of that. Oh my god.
He's fighting Academy Award winner John Voight in this scene, and his character's the dog is voiced by Chevy Chase.
No.
Did they literally steal the Matrix?
Yes. Well, back in that era, everybody kind of parodied the Matrix. I mean, Shrek did, if you remember. Kung Pao Enter the Fist did, because that bullet time thing was so trendy. It was annoying at that point. But
John Voight is what's her name? On Angelina Jolie's father, right?
Yes, actually, also true. I could have said that too.
And my mom and my cousin met him at New York Comic Con last year because he was signing I think old figure, if I'm not mistaken, in a comic book. Matter of fact, give me 1 second before you.
I'm just gonna let this thing scroll because, by the way, John Voight was also the one that farted on me once on the set of Ray Donovan. He just kind of crop dusted where he kind of when you walk and fart at the same time, you just kind of leave it in your wake. Yeah, he just let one fly, and it was just oh, this dude ate burritos.
Wow.
But yes, Pat Morita played the sensei that was the sensei of the dog. He's killed off in the movie, by the way. Pat Morita's character is. But yes, the Karate Dog premiered May 5th, 2004. Makes a lot of sense that it was a Cinco de Mayo movie because I think you need a lot to drink to watch this thing.
He said a Cinco de Mayo movie?
Well, today is Cinco de Mayo.
No. Oh, snap. Yes, it is.
Yeah, so this movie was released on Cinco de Mayo 2004, which is why I think you need a lot to drink to be able to watch this thing.
So, as far as I know, John Voight has signed this for my mom.
Okay.
The Grim Ghost.
I don't know that one.
And this one.
Okay.
So, I don't know if this is a comic book that people know about. If you do know about the Grim Ghost, let me know.
The Gray Ghost, I mean, that was a character from the Batman animated series. It was a radio drama that was voiced by Adam West.
Are they signed?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Oh, I didn't see the signature. That's what I was asking.
Wait, let me move it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Oh, he did it in black. That's why.
yeah, you see it, right?
Yeah, on the top left.
So if y'all know anything about this, let us know because I have no idea.
All right, let's talk about it off camera. Maybe I can dig some stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, we got any other topics before we get off?
The only thing I'm going to throw out is a little bit of a self plug in this case.
Okay. Oh yeah, we didn't run any ads either.
It's fine. Not worried about it.
No way.
Yeah.
Self plugs.
So, had a nice little chat today with the one Mr. Nathan Barnott, aka Dad, who will be fighting in Creator Clash 3. It's a charity event that's used to raise money for cancer. In this case, Stand Up to Cancer is the charity they're running with. But massive thanks to Nathan for coming out, chatting a little bit, talking about the fight, talking about Jake Paul, talking about all this kind of stuff. Got a lot of sound bites there. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to post it here, post it in the combat channel as well. and try and get a little bit of love for a Creator Clash. So, Nathan, you may remember from shows like Kirby Buckets. He did America's Got Talent a few years ago as Keith Apicari's character. He got past the first round, too. Credit to him on that. And also, what is the name of the game that had all the dances in it?
Game that has all the dances in it.
It's not Dancing with the Stars.
No, the video game.
Dance Dance Revolution?
No, it was a first-person shooter.
What?
It was a first-person shooter.
First-person shooter?
Yes.
I don't know.
Evolution with
it's a shooter game.
The Floss became famous because of that game.
Because it was an Aerosmith video game that had
No. First-person shooter.
It wasn't Fortnite?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Fortnite actually stole one of his dances.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I thought when you said the floss, the first thing that was popping up in my mind was Fortnite, but I'm like, is that what he's talking about?
Yeah, actually it was. The floss dance that's shown in commercials by people that have no idea the floss is no longer trendy.
That's funny. And speaking of Fortnite, with the whole Star Wars right now, it's Star Wars themed as the season, so that's been cool.
But yeah, they stole his no bones dance, so he had to file a lawsuit. But Nathan, good dude. Big fan of Hajime no Ippo, best anime I've ever watched.
Because that also became popular on TikTok too.
Oh yeah, that was a big dance.
Oh wow.
But it makes sense why he would sue them for not paying him for his dance.
Yeah, well, they kind of had a habit of just like stealing stuff. So
yeah, well, yeah, and they've had characters on there, and they want to pay these voice actors like not even what they're worth. Like Christopher Judd has talked about him being Kronos, and when they wanted Kronos on there, they asked him, but they didn't want to pay him what he's worth, and so that's why you don't have a voice with Kronos.
Oh,
wow. But that's Nathan. So.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got a little kibitz going on with him right now. So.
Cool.
Anyway, that's about all I got, gentlemen.
Yeah. Just go to the movies. Go support the movies.
Yeah.
We got a lot of movies coming up.
May 16, Final Destination Bloodline, ladies and gentlemen. Check that movie out.
Or we'll eat your children.
No, or death will be knocking at your door.
And go check out Thunderbolts. It actually did pretty well this weekend. Not like a big, but it got like 160.
Yeah, it landed at 160. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, Sinners is doing. It really made his money back.
Yeah, Sinners has done well this year. So.
Okay. So, all right, guys. On that note, that is Davion. That is Scott. And I'm Robert Manning. And this is Tales from the Film